Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Kearyn Cox, and you are watching my Intro to Journalism video essay. I have a really important topic to discuss with you all today, and that topic is how do we engage young people with the news? I think this is an incredibly important topic to be had because young people are the future journalists and young people are the future of how journalism will look like in the future. I'd firstly like to tell you a little bit about myself because I consider myself a young person. How do I engage with the news, you might ask? I like to think of myself as a pretty common person. These days, I access my news via the television, but I don't access it at the 7 p.m. slot. I access it, whenever I can stop through, any time of the day really. There's no kind of determined time slot. I mostly access my news via my phone and my laptop. You will rarely see a newspaper in my hands these days, and you'll be lucky to see a young person pick up a newspaper from the local newsagent. This brings me to my important body paragraphs that I'll be discussing in this video essay. The first argument I'd like to make is, how did the young people arrive at this position where we all access our media via our phone? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how Gen Z arrived to the place where we are today. I'm going to discuss the revolution of technology, more specifically the rise and use of the mobile phone, and how mobiles can now be used for citizen journalism anywhere in the world. But I'm also going to discuss how young people are being best engaged and where they're being engaged. Well, the first one I'd like to discuss is, who are the young people? The young people we have today have 90 seconds average attention spans. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the Gen Z. I'm talking about those born from 1995 to 2012. But how do we arrive at this point? Well, I guess you need to turn back the chapters a little while, right? I'm going to start with the children of the baby boomers, those born 1996 to 1967, those considered the Generation X. Those born in Generation X are to date the most educated generation, but they also had the lowest voting participation rates. Now, why is that? Now let's look at their children, Generation Y. Those born from 1977 to 1994. This was a generation that had grown up with television. This was a generation that had been bombarded with marketing and advertising throughout their entire lives. Some say that Generation Y is the generation that had seen it all. This was the same generation that started the swing towards networked cable, satellite radio, and the internet. Those are the same people, the generation above the one that we have right now, Gen Z. Now, what is so important about Gen Z and these young people? Gen Z kids are the most sophisticated version of the human race that we have ever seen. They spend their money on FIFA online coins. They multitask between social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Tinder, and even Snapchat. They have the capacity to create citizen journalism just by the use of their phone. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the rise of technology. Nowadays, everyone has a mobile phone in their pocket. On that mobile phone is the camera. Everyone uses a camera these days, whether they're checking themselves out or whether they're producing major news for Channel 7. I'm going to talk to you about how young people are best engaged these days. In my opinion, I think young people are best engaged on social media platforms such as Facebook. Young people are so influential on Facebook that they wanted more. They wanted to react in more ways to the content that they were seeing. They wanted to be able to reply with more than a thumbs up. These days, you get emotions and reactions. The most common and popular reactions these days are funny, love, sad and angry. Often news falls into these categories. The most top trending topics these days on social media are films, sports stars and celebrities. Too often you see a kind of blend between entertainment news and what is actually considered harder news on social media, because they have to blend the lines to get people attracted to what they're putting on their social media forums. I'm going to discuss to you a little bit about new strategies News Corps are starting to do on social media. News organisations such as ABC News are starting to move their platform to social media and to online.